When's the last time you saw these guys?
Ileana was in middle school.
What?
We came up. I don't know why we came up. We came up to
At the light, use the left lane to make a U-turn at Wrench to Market Road. Then the destination is on your right.
So me, Ileana, and your mom came up to. We went to a place to go eat. I don't know. I don't remember why we came. Maybe it was just to. Hey,
This recording was done in person and was different from all the other recordings, so it sounds a bit off. So the editing is a bit more rough, or brought it from a whisper to something a bit more audible, which is going to cause some whispering noises that sound really close and things like that, because of just how the way the guests spoke. So in order for it to be actually heard, you're going to hear some really close whispers, unfortunately. I hope you enjoy this different product. I think I'm just going to kind of center it, and if someone's starting to kind of go on a riff, I think I'll start just pointed directionally, because otherwise it's kind of murky in the sound-wise. Okay. This is a very different episode of Dungeons & Degrees. I am in person for the first time, so it's kind of a new feeling. I'm actually seeing eyes, seeing faces. But my name's Adrian, and Alex is not here.
I'll be Alex.
But
I'm throwing some curse words.
Yeah. Just talk about your school day. Alex is a teacher, so it'll fit in perfectly to what is known about the podcast. But let's just go around the table and introduce our special guests. We'll start to my left and then keep going around.
Hi, Guy Lawrence.
What do you do?
I'm a teacher.
Okay.
Russ Shortus, I'm an archaeologist.
Jeff Jones, I manage a team of anti-money laundering investigators.
And the reason I've come to... Oh my gosh, I've already forgotten.
Are we on Round Rock? Are we in
Round Rock?
We're in Round Rock.
Come to Round Rock. It's because my dad's told me that he's played D&D. He's the reason I kind of knew about it before it kind of resurfaced and popped off through all this pop culture stuff. And I wanted to know what was it like before I was, even born.
Yeah.
So to start off, what was your all's first campaign together? How did it come about? How did the team get together?
There was a big light, and there was a capital A, and it said Avengers Assemble.
There was a bar.
There
was an inn, and
we were at this tavern.
Actually, Guy was with me first, and we were actually running an adventure that you can probably still find around. We were playing, what is it called? The Desert of Desolation series, D&D, and that's basically where we started.
So
anyway,
it was
Jeff joined up later. I don't know. I don't remember. It was in one of my homemade campaigns.
Yep.
But
it was kind of interesting because for a long time we were in two different groups. Guy was in this one group, and then I was in another group that Russ started up. And so we didn't really play together. In fact, Guy and I really never played together very much at all.
You mean never?
Not never, but do we ever play in an actual D&D campaign together?
I don't think I played any D&D campaigns. It was your Call of Cthulhu game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there were two separate groups going, and there was, oddly enough, a little animosity between the two groups for some reason. I don't know why. But we always thought that they didn't like us, and therefore we kind of didn't like them.
The othering of the other.
I tried to make sure that they didn't like each other.
You didn't want to run like a giant table D&D session?
Well, that sounds like something I would like to do, but it wouldn't have worked.
And how many people were in, I guess, since we'll talk about the Call of Cthulhu game, because that's what you all were playing together. How many people were in that?
In the Call of Cthulhu game? Probably 6 or 7.
I don't know. Old days we used to. I mean, if you didn't have 8 people playing, it wasn't
Yeah, it was
really.
kind of was a work,
It wasn't a game.
yeah. And we would play. We'd start at like 10 or 11 in the morning and
Yeah.
play till midnight or later. Have a dinner break somewhere in there. But we were young. We could do that.
We could keep going. Yeah.
But yeah, I ran the Call of Cthulhu game. Russ ran a couple too. But by that time, kind of the group the guy was in, it kind of dispersed.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Joanna joined our group, and then Guy, you weren't playing as much then, but you played in the Call of Cthulhu game, and
what was that? I mean, what time frame are we talking about then? When did we start? What year did we start playing?
That would be in. I think it took at least a semester for us to
start.
So it would probably be 84.
Okay.
I moved to Lubbock in '84, I think, and I actually went to the local game store, and there was a ad tacked on the bulletin board for a D&D game, and I took off the little tab and I called.
What was the game
Russ.
store?
Star Books and Comics. Yeah.
I just went there the last time I was in Lubbock.
Last time I was in Lubbock, went there too to see Sid's nephew.
Is he running it?
Yeah, he's running it now. Yeah, Sid passed away.
Yeah.
That was our store. It was well before Mad Hatters or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That was the only game in town.
So the setting is Lubbock, 1984. Okay. We were at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Okay. But
We used to have a big group, and Guy was in it. And as soon as we had a few people starting to disappear from the group, and we couldn't run the game regularly, well, we probably ran it anyway. But I started looking for more people, and I got more people than I was expecting. And so we ended up with 2 groups.
but when did you start playing, Russ? I mean,
I started playing in 1976.
76. So when you were in high school?
Junior high.
Junior high. Okay. But what was
Junior
that
high.
like? I mean, what was that?
I tried to run original D&D, which I don't know if anybody's ever read any original D&D. I didn't really know what I was doing for a long time, but it set me up for the way I kind of run games. It was more about the role playing than it was about pretty much anything else. Mm-hmm. And so we were basically sitting around at school, and then before too long, officially at people's houses, basically playing make-believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. But it's really cool the stories you can create with like having that like kind of part of you outside it and just creating these make-believe games, but it's still very invigorating. When I talk to people now like about D&D, they're just like, well, that just seems weird. I'm like, listen, you can invest in your characters like you invest in like TV shows and movies, and like when your character dies, it's harrowing.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're talking about a time when you didn't really tell other people you played this.
If you would go to some place and go, hey, do you like to play Risk? If they said yes, you went, maybe they are.
that was the gateway drug, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was really looked on. I mean, it's so much more mainstream now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We lived through the Satanic Panic in the '80s and all of that stuff. And
Thank you, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it's interesting because it was hard to find your tribe back then. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier now, which is good. I'm glad it's easier now. It should have been easy then, but we found our groups and we made some friends that have lasted pretty much a lifetime. It's fun. It's just getting together and creating something out of nothing and telling a story that wasn't there before. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so much fun about it. Russ's games always were like big on like role playing on character development and stuff like that. Instead of combat, we did combat. Combat was D&D's focused on combat. When we played D&D for a long time, combat was a pretty big part of it. But really, the fun part of it for us was the stuff that, led up to the combat, or was combat is just the way to resolve the role playing for us, and that's I still enjoy that kind of game, and it's not that easy to find that kind of game out there even now.
Mm-hmm. I told Jeff that we didn't want to really start that proving that we're old and going, hey, the young people can get off my lawn. Because it does seem to me, I've been starting to run a lot more games online now, and there are a lot of people online now. And I'm not a big fan of it, and I don't really like talking about it that much because it makes me feel old. But there's lots of people that come on there, and it is, they think that the game's going to be a computer game, basically.
Yeah.
And whenever you start trying to interact with them, they're like, what is this? They go, I have to talk? And it's like, well, this is a story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they just want to hit the space bar or whatever you need to hit to move on. I usually silence through all this stuff. So. Well, I don't like that.
I played in a game about 5 years ago with a friend of mine for board gaming. As you can see, I'm big into board gaming. He wanted to run a campaign he'd played when he was a kid, lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And, I went and played it, and he literally was running a module. And he literally just went through it was just get to this combat, to this combat, to this combat, and just hand-waved all the other stuff. And a lot of people, especially, oddly enough, older gamers, play that way. And I am kind of happy nowadays that you see a lot more people who don't play that way, especially a lot of the independent RPGs and stuff. I mean, I think that the hobby has blossomed out quite a lot. And I think there's some things that the reasons for those, I think, are like Critical Role. Mm-hmm. And Stranger Things, kind of brought this game into the mainstream, and I think that's good for the game.
So, and I didn't watch all of Stranger Things. I think I watched part of the first season. I knew they were playing, but you think that really kind of helped pump it up?
Yeah, I think so. Because the show got really, it was crazy popular, and it not only were they playing it in that first season, a little bit in the second season, but mostly in the first season, but it kind of was a thing they referred to throughout the entire season. They even in the fourth, they turned things. The things they were fighting, the places they had to go, were all a lot of times were in like with D&D terminology, and it just really, I think, brought the game into the minds of a lot of people who hadn't thought of it before, or thought it was just nerdy or something like that. Mm-hmm. Well, these kids were kind of nerdy, but they were cool. The show was cool, made them cool. Right. And then Critical Role came along and got really popular, which is I never expected to see that. A podcast, basically, or not a podcast, but a video, YouTube channel, take off like that. And it's done a lot of good things for the hobby, and it's done some not so good things.
What is a not so good thing?
Well, I think a lot of people come into D&D for the first time if they come in from Critical Role, and they think that's the way the games are going to be. And Critical Role are professional voice actors,
right.
With a DM who does nothing but develop a game. Mm-hmm. It's not realistically how most games are run. Most times, Russ, we were lucky. Russ has a theater background, and in high school, and was big into theater, and has always done well with like voices and NPCs and stuff like that. They all had personalities, and that was one of the fun things about playing in Russ's games. And people, and I'm glad people expect that now. Right. But I think they expect a little too much. Yeah,
too much production, too much shine.
Too much, just too much acting ability from your normal person.
I think the other thing is as well, they also expect it to be as memorable. But these people are professionals, and they've been doing it for a while. Yep. So you have like players that haven't done that, haven't experienced that. And it doesn't, the people are like disappointed in how the game feels when it's not like what they saw on TV, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, tell the truth, the game needs to be a little edgy if you're going to really get any memories out of it. Mm-hmm. There's lots of stuff from the games that I still look back on, and I will still tell, even if I have completely different people in there. I'm always making references to, because, I mean, these guys made the game important. Mm-hmm. I just came up with stuff, and it was them that really made the game. If they're not there playing it and playing along with me, mm-hmm. then it just doesn't work anyway. And it is hard. It's a skill. There's no. I don't blame people from coming to a game and sitting there silently. Maybe more than one game, maybe a couple of games until you find out where your place is in the thing. Because there is sort of a place. There's always a place for everyone.
Right.
But you got to figure out where that is for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my first online game, like roughly when this pandemic started, I had a lot of I had 2 or 3 silent people, and then we had 1 or 2 that were kind of bantering with me as the GM. And it took until I want to say the 11th session, because some people went, because the first couple sessions online, people are like, this isn't for me, and you lose some, you gain some. But finally, this guy came out of his shell, fake cried, which I don't think anybody else has done yet, but just kind of went for it, and he was the silent guy. I'm like, okay, I keep remembering that time every single time. Yeah. Someone just coming out of the shell.
There you go. Yeah.
But it takes some time. It takes some work, for sure.
Yeah.
So are you mainly just GM? Do you play sometimes?
I play sometimes. Main reason why we've got a real connection here is because I really like Call of Cthulhu. I like Lovecrafty and stuff. I like grimdark, everything. And I don't generally get to play it. And a lot of times if I try and run it, my players don't necessarily want to be a part of that. And Jeff runs Call of Cthulhu. And so I tried to get the people that I was closest to in college anyways were Guy and Joanna. Mm-hmm. And so I dragged them along with me everywhere I went. And I knew Jeff was a good GM, or at least I knew that he was I know that he would be fair, and he wasn't there to try and kill people just for no reason.
Gotcha.
He would want to do it story-wise anyway.
Fear fair kind of
because
thing.
there were some arguments, believe me, I still remember a guy's character falling through a roof, and they argued over damage. How much it would cost forever. But no, that's how we got connected up there.
So, you guys played together. During that time when you guys were in Lubbock, did y'all play at the game store? Did you play in dorms? Where was the location that y'all played at?
The dorms.
The dorms. Okay.
Well, the dorms at first.
Until we moved out.
Yeah.
Because you weren't in the dorm long, were you?
I was in Coleman for at least a semester, and then we met Bradley, and then I moved over to what was that over there? Bloodsoe. Yeah, that's where you were at, right? Yeah.
We
moved to Bloodsoe.
We were roommates until he kicked me out.
And then some others, Barry and them, wanted to move out into apartments, and I moved out then.
Gotcha.
The first time I ever played it in Russ's game, it was in a dorm.
They went to wherever I went.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's how it went. I think it was 7th floor Coleman was our go-to place.
Were we on the 7th floor?
I don't know. Were you? That was your dorm.
7th or I think we were on the 7th floor.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah, end of the hall. TJ dropping soda bottles on fire out the window. Yeah.
There's definitely things secured since then.
Well, back then they didn't even have glass in the windows. Just hang on, dude.
So I think my experience when I was in the dorms, there's, I had my core group of 4 or 5 guys, and then we had people come in and come out. How did you dispute any people that you kind of had arguments with? How did that go down? I know. Was it just don't invite them, shut up, and just hey, we're playing somewhere else actually?
Many different ways. In the Desert of Desolation, we had this guy that kept using there's this staff of Amun Re or whatever, and whenever you hit it on the ground 2 times or something, it would paralyze everybody within a certain radius. And he kept doing it to the party in the middle of the combats, and people were getting tired, getting very angry, and I believe they killed him.
Who was the player?
Randy,
That's what I was
the
thinking.
one who. They didn't like him.
But he stayed with us, right?
He took his punishment, and they allowed him to
I
stay.
remember Randy.
But and then Jeff and I at another game, we just basically told them that we weren't playing anymore.
So if you hear this, Randy,
Did we tell him you moved?
I don't know. So many lies.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, the way the party members mesh is important.
Yeah.
In these games, and if someone is just not, what you kind of want to play with, then I mean, it's probably the nicest thing to do is probably just to tell them and say you're just not meshing, and but
we like you, but
we like you, but you should find another game. But sometimes it's easier just to pretend you're not playing anymore.
I think we've definitely done that once. But it was just easier because we had school, we had we have tests, we have this, we have that, we have just make sure we just don't go to the same Coleman place.
I've seen the modern version of this though, just in the last few weeks though.
Yeah.
I joined up with this group, deciding that I needed more players, and I wasn't getting what I needed from my family, and so I went to this board or Discord and started gaming, and I got forced into playing 5th edition, which I was still stuck back in 3.5 in Pathfinder.
That's such a. It was a big jump. It was a bit more crunchier. The numbers mattered a little bit more, and now it's kind of a little easier to jump in.
And so I was a little behind. I mean, it's all basically right. But that being said, I was playing online with people, and it didn't happen to me, but I saw it in games I was sitting in. Make sure it didn't happen in my game, but I was playing in another game, and people would just if they didn't like it, they just log off and remove themselves from the Discord, and they were just gone. So nowadays you can just leave, and that's it. You're gone.
With online gaming, I mean,
and that's weird.
You block everyone. You block that, or you block them from the Discord, or you block.
Usually you
the
got to
people
see
you
them
want
go out in a huff or something. I'll get you guys. But no, you just leave now.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're gone, erased. But
I guess that's good.
I don't know. I don't like it.
it's like they don't have patience for the game.
You want to hear game rules problems? D&D and Goodberry was the argument. Goodberry's a huge argument in D&D.
Yeah.
Which is so easy to fix, and nobody really cares.
Yeah.
I've because I've been in this game for so long, whenever there's a dispute, I've had to okay, this is the rule. We can talk about and converse about this later.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to it, because I've been lucky enough to have people who are okay, I trust that you're going to do the right thing later, or that we can have a conversation about this and we move on, because this is they got 2 to 3 hours in their week that they sit down with me. One of those hours is not going to go back and forth about rules.
Right.
It's tough, but I'm lucky enough. But I've seen people who just no, this is what it says in the book.
Yeah.
I had a guy when I was in college that was just he read the ninja in, I think it was 3.5. He's reading the flavor text and saying that this guy gets this legendary sword, and he's it says it right here. I get it. It was no, that's just the flavor, and he was just so hard up on him, and we just gave up. And yeah, fine, whatever. You win. You get to get this legendary sword.
Give it to him and then take his arm off or something.
And it was just.
That's why I enjoyed playing with guys.
Guy was vicious.
Yeah,
as a player.
As a GM too.
In old games. In old games.
Wow.
Yeah, and everything.
My favorite moment was just arguing over what to do with the prisoner. And then while they were arguing, I just said, "Okay, I take out my sword."
I've done that a time or two. I don't know. What's it called? I just remember when we were like the first time I played D&D with you. I think there was like a nest of rats, and for some reason, me and Dante were just not rolling well, and they were just nipping us for like 1 or 2 HP. But like there was tons of them, and we eventually died. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to play this game anymore. And I didn't play it until like college.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
There have been sad deaths, that's for sure.
I died over my charges and my boots of levitation.
I was waiting for that one to come up.
Somebody was keeping count, but I was unaware.
I tell that story a lot to new groups. That's one of my main stories.
So,
It's like going, yes, magic items can't have charges.
it was a learning experience. And I think I sat on the side for a long time, dead.
Yeah.
But somehow they brought me back. I
It
don't
wasn't
remember.
the whole thing, too. He fell before. He didn't used to have a maximum of
like
10d6.
Yeah.
You could just roll whatever. And I rolled all the dice, and it was like 500. Like you needed to roll all the dice, but I rolled them all. And they were all 6s, every single one of them. It was like, he is dead.
He was proud of that, too. I think he showed us. Look!
I was like, oh my God!
You're really dead.
Yeah. You see how dead you are?
I've never seen so much death.
I've never been one to keep anybody dead forever, though. Unless it's a good story part.
Yeah. Some people, I mean, from what I understand, like when I went to the end game of one of my campaigns, there I was like, all right, y'all might die. I will let you know. How do you guys want to do it? Like, are you guys good? Like, because a lot of these people, this game that I was playing for 2 years, and I was just like, okay, this might be it. I might kill them all right here at the end. And everyone's like, listen, you can kill me. That's fine. I just don't want it to be like pointless. I want it to be like it have purpose and like it kind of pushes the narrative to that final point. And everyone kind of agreed with that. As I went to each individual one, and they were just like, just make sure it's not pointless.
Sheesh, I could come up with 6 non-pointless deaths.
So how do you deal with death? You said like you don't keep somebody dead long unless it's a point. Is this like resurrection? Is this like go find this stone? Or how do you deal with that?
I cheat.
You what?
I cheat.
Oh, I mean, sometimes, was it like,
Depends on what it is.
some deity?
A lot of times, monsters tend to do less or do more damage depending on how the game's going. I don't kill anybody unless I think that's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have accidentally killed people by being brutally honest. But for the most part, I usually just, for one thing, I started offering things whenever we played other games too. In Warhammer, original Warhammer, I learned about fate points. Almost all my games have fate points in them now. Then if you die, then you can expend a fate point. It means that something bad happened to you, and you may suffer from it. You may lose a limb. You may be whatever, but you don't die.
Right.
And that's my scapegoat mainly now. Yeah.
I had a character who lost an arm. Remember? Yeah, I mean, Rust. We didn't die a lot in Rust's games, but there were consequences for stuff. But it's really not that much fun to have a character you played for a year and a half just die, because of die rolls. So fate points, came along, and it kind of they were valuable, and we didn't have very many of them. So when you had no fate points, you were really careful.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment in one of your games where you just like you gave hints that this is a dangerous combat, like repeatedly? They're already laughing.
Brad. Wasn't it Brad? We were in the thing, the door. It's old from a scenario, or a scenario in the Dragon magazine. I don't remember, it's like some sort of Sea Lord or something. But the door on it says, "Do not open this door." What the mechanism of ultimate destruction lies beyond. And Brad was like, "I'm opening that door." He opened the door, and I had to kill him. I was like, "Oh my God, it says do not open the door." I guess that could have meant that there was a super good treasure behind it, I suppose, and that wasn't very fair, maybe. I've never done that again.
He misinterpreted it.
Something lost in translation.
Sometimes a door that says do not open, there's a reason for it.
Yeah. It really means do not open.
But yeah, that's happened several times.
How many campaigns have you kind of? Well, I guess I want to say ended, but like
Oh, crap.
Oh, that's different.
there's like oh something fails, something you just move on. But like you feel like you've successfully like kind of like put the cherry on top and finished.
Never.
Well, there was one.
What?
Where we killed Loth at the end.
Killed who?
No.
Loth.
No.
That ended the campaign. That was the end of the campaign. We started a new one.
You didn't feel like it was good enough
Dry Hollow?
for that end.
Well, I probably sped it up faster than I originally intentioned.
Okay.
I don't really specifically remember that. Most of them I've just kind of went, God, we've been playing this forever. I'm so
Or you
tired of this game.
Or he gets an idea for a new campaign and he can't get it out of its head, and suddenly, that's what we do.
When the DM's not having fun, the
Yeah.
game isn't really great
Yeah.
unless someone else starts another one. I am currently, because I know that I'm getting to the end of my career in D&D is getting to that point, and the campaign we're playing right now, I am going to get to the end of the campaign if it literally kills me. It will happen.
Nice.
And I've already seen that it's making them very unhappy. A lot of times the party doesn't really know what's going on towards the end of the game, and I don't think they're really liking what's going on in the game. But we're going to finish it.
How long is this one? The one that you're talking about right now? How long have you been playing this one?
It's not one of the longest ones. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, we're this setting that we're playing this in is Velskura. It's a city that Russ made, and we played several campaigns in this city.
Yeah.
And this is the latest one. So we've been playing in this setting, in this place, in this city.
I put so much work into this freaking city.
Yeah.
We're
Or it's
not
gotta
leaving
be,
it.
what? It's got to be 10 years.
It's not done anyway. I built such a huge city. It's like something out of. I mean, it's not like I came up with the idea anyway. I mean, and there's like boroughs in there that aren't even created. And as I need a new one, I'll just put one in. that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But there's lots of boroughs, and there's plenty of places to go. It's not like they've ran out of anything.
No.
And I've got this huge ass random encounters chart. Some players don't even care to play the game. There's one guy that just goes, I'm just going to go roaming around town all day. Because he'll find plenty of adventures just roaming around town. And then other people go, can we walk 10 steps to this town without something happening?
We started spending money on carriages.
So
we
we've been
just
playing
don't have
in
to
one.
work.
We've been playing in one game world for a very, very long time. But I don't know games. I think I'm up to of this game. I know I hadn't hit 8 on the Fate campaigns
Yeah.
because that would be the end. But I ran other campaigns before that. I got other worlds. He played in Krim. He played a little bit in Krim, not a lot. But anyway.
But my current character in his
Most of the
game
games,
is from Grim.
and back in the olden days, there wasn't really an end anyway.
Yeah.
It was just sort of move on to the next adventure.
Yeah.
So
How do you, because you say you've made this large kind of city, how do you keep things organized? Is this all in documents? Is this papers? Just red yarn?
no, most of it's pretty much all in Word and Excel files. But There's lots of paper too. I don't know how many notebooks I have of just. I mean, I've got them separated. I do get. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I get really organized with D&D for some reason. And I've got giant books that are just burrows and burrows of the city with pictures with all the things labeled. But I've been trying to convert them as much as possible. And but there's a lot. Yeah. And plus, for a city the size that I have, I've stolen from so many sources, trying to get it all together. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah,
it is really, really, really huge. So, I wouldn't mind playing it in my own game. But anyway, so yeah, almost all my modern stuff since the last, I don't know, 10 years.
10 years, probably.
10 years. It's all been on computers, and I just whenever a computer dies, it's like, oh no, my God, just save the campaign. That's all I care about. Anyway.
So you've been playing straight since college, right? You mean you've been playing?
No, whenever I was a shovel bum, I didn't have any. As an archaeologist, you can't get a real job. Just like you don't just step out and go, hey. No, you have to take temp jobs and you work all over the place and just roam around. Mm-hmm. And because I was basically by myself, and it was also before cell phones, so
okay,
I was by myself for a very, very long time. And all I did was work on games, and I didn't have any players. I mean, y'all were wherever having lives,
right?
And video playing over online wasn't a thing.
Right.
Well, what is it? The one of the games was online. Whenever I was doing that, ElfQuest. No, ElfQuest. It's like whatever was right before World of Warcraft. EverQuest. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, playing role-playing games like we do.
Oh, but it wasn't role-playing. No. You couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So you took a break after you left Lubbock, right? You left Lubbock and then...
Yeah. Because we were still gaming until pretty much the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what game it is. That's where I learned that you really shouldn't drink an entire bottle of Diet Coke over the period of an 8-hour game, because you'll never go to sleep whenever you get in bed. Our games used to be, they went from almost all night to 8 hours. And now my games hardly last longer than 4 or 5.
Yeah, at the most.
It's more reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do that anymore. I did that when I was 10-hour games. I used to do it like I would get off shift from Sam's West, and it was like 10 p.m. I just shovel all that crappy food and like all the winnings from that place, and I just bring it to the table. Like, all right, we're going until the donut shop over on 32nd opens up. I think it was like called Sunrise Donuts or something like that. So we played till like 6 a.m. usually. So it's just 8-hour sessions.
Yeah. Yep, we did. Sometimes we used to have every summer we would go to a lake house that one of our players owned and spend all weekend playing.
And have huge fights too. I still remember that too.
The good and the bad.
Mark, I didn't mention you.
That's all he's going to hear. He's not going to hear what you said. He's just like, Mark, I didn't mention you.
Your secret is safe. So what do you remember? What was like your favorite game when we were still at Tech?
I really enjoyed the Desolation series, and I didn't really make it.
Okay.
That was fun. We had a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah.
We did. Those were good series. Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss knew what they were doing.
Right,
Those were the first really, really good scenarios for D&D. All the others had been sort of like that, here's a room and a monster kind of thing.
Right. They were the first really, really...
They had stories.
Yeah.
I mean, there were those like the Giants modules and stuff like that, but they were loosely connected.
They were still rooms and monsters. It didn't really matter. You were just trying to kill them all. Mm-hmm. That's all you were doing. And then Dragonlance followed quickly after that, and it was really story oriented.
Yeah, I remember that.
How do you deal with players that just like, okay, I have like 1 HP off and 2 spell slots missing, I'm gonna rest. Do you just like stop? How do you keep the story going? That's what I was asking. Because I know there's people out there just like, I'm not at my full potential. I can't do the next encounter.
Yeah, he just doesn't let us do that.
I'm like going, I don't really know.
You gotta keep going.
Mine depends on how this. I pay a lot of attention to. I read a lot about being a DM because I really enjoy the stuff. But I try. It may not appear that way all the times, but I try and follow a normal writing. Here's climax, here's this stuff kind of path. And if it's gonna interrupt with my climax, no. And that can be taken really out of context. So now I'm always, I watch it. Players may not see it, but I'm always watching it like a movie, and that's where I can get in trouble because I don't like pushing people to do what I want them to do, and sometimes I'm going, well, that's not the way the movie works. That's just boring. So. But anyways, I can be a little pushy then. I don't think I am as bad now, but I don't know. You'd have to ask the player.
We kind of make our own way in the current campaign that we're playing. I mean, we kind of decided what we wanted to do and what we wanted to focus on. Things happen that we didn't anticipate, like right now, where we're in this underground civilization under the city that we were at. We didn't even know existed, and we were trying to get out. And we know things are going on up on the ground level that we can't deal with, and it's kind of frustrating, but it's kind of fun too. So, I mean, it's just rest. I mean, to answer your question, rest just kind of doesn't let us do that. I mean, you can't. I mean, if we say we want to rest and get everything back, well, I mean, it's too dangerous in some places to rest, and we're pretty good players, and we know that we can't just stop and rest everywhere.
I do select my players, so I know what they're going to want.
I mean, with this kind of new technology, well, not new technology, like being able to play online, it's easier to like, okay, you're out. How do you vend players to select the ones you want?
That's a good question. That's something that I will be working on soon because I'm about to start a new game, and I've got to figure out how I'm going to install it because my Sunday gamers, most of them are probably not going to play. Jeff said he would, but they're not going to play, and I don't think I can. Even though I even tried to get a hold of one that I thought might play, couldn't get a hold of them. I think I'm going to have to do interviews, and I'm not really looking forward to it. But because I don't want it's kind of an important game to me.
Yeah.
Especially when I put as much effort in as I do. I don't want it just to be trashed by somebody that's going to argue about Goodberry. Not really. But if you're a good DM, you shouldn't have to worry about Goodberry.
So you went like face-to-face interviews and like try to put them like in a scenario, or I know you said that you got to figure it out.
Well, I assume I'm still going to make a mistake because I do that because I hire people at my work, and I make mistakes all the time, and because people aren't accurate whenever they interview sometimes.
They put up
they put on a fake face,
and
anyway, and I assume that's what's going to happen as well. I just hope I have enough people in the game that I can trust so that I can tell them that the campaign's ended and I can find some people to replace them. I mean, if people can just disappear in games now without and just vanish, you don't know who they are or anything, I can vanish too.
It's hard to find people who, because we're used to playing a certain way, because we've been playing together for 40 years.
40
No.
years.
Close, yes.
30 something.
Close to 40. Close to 40 years.
Yeah, 30, not quite.
Very close to 40 years. I was 23 when I moved to Lubbock, and I started playing with you almost immediately. I'm 62 now. I will be 62 this year.
But I'm only 30.
We've been playing together a long time, and we have we know the kind of player we like to play with.
Right.
And it's not easy to find them because there's a lot of different ways to play the game, and that's great. I mean, people need to be in the kind of game that they want to play in, but it's not easy finding a group of people who play like we want to play. And
I hate to say it, but the people that usually turn out best are the people that we get the same old way we always got them.
yeah,
Just by talking to people and finding somebody, and then you out yourself, and then they go, "Oh, really?" Because I've got a vaguely new player, and I think she enjoys my game. I met her at work. I did have a clue though. Whenever they hired her at my workplace, she was like going, "Yeah, I work at Dragon's Lair," and I went, "I think we should hire him." But anyway, she came into the game. I think she was leery too because I kept telling her about my game. She was like going, "That sounds horrible." But I think she actually likes the game now.
I hope so. I love playing with her.
Yeah, anyway, and so I've got almost all the people I keep are really still almost in person. Yeah. I don't think I have anybody online that I really just don't want to.
Yeah.
I can do without them for the most part.
But it'll be different going into a different game with people we don't know. And
Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. This is going to be something that's not going to please me very much.
In the middle of recording, I would have to stop the recording and start it up again due to Anchor's ability to only record up to an hour to get the rest of it as I wrapped up. And then my phone was dying, so I also had to wrap it up as well. This conversation that they're talking about right now is essentially their time in Lubbock. As they're playing games, they would run in these tunnels underneath the campus.
Tunnels?
Yeah.
That wasn't part of the game.
Okay. Well,
It was Barry that wanted to do that anyway.
we just follow them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who wasn't going to follow Barry?
Okay.
did you go in the tunnel?
No, I don't know where they are. But
Can't find there any great.
okay, they have locks on them. I need to.
Well, how did we even get in?
Just under the dorm. There was a way to get into it down there.
Like
They probably lock them up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made it all the way to the UC, and then
Which one's the UC?
The University Center.
Oh, the sub.
That's they call it something else. Student Union.
Everything's different.
Yeah.
They didn't want to call it the suck.
But anyway, yeah, we came out and there used to be a video arcade in the bottom. And
Oh.
that's where we came out from the tunnels from Coleman. And then I ended up coming out of it because a cop or a security
person, yeah.
security person saw us and started chasing us.
We
And
split
I
up,
came
right?
out through I don't know whether were we together? I don't remember.
No, because I think I told Adrian this before that. We got back to the dorm and we were like wondering who was going to get caught and who was going to tell on us. Who's going to rat us out.
I think I was with TJ.
Yeah.
And we came out, we opened up a manhole cover, and we were right in front of the theater just as people were coming out. And then we put it back down, then we could hear the guy moving around down there, so we finally just opened it up and got out. But we had marked things so that we would know our way back. Didn't really work very well when you're running like a crazy idiot out of the thing. But anyway, yeah.
No, I think I've seen a lot of the grates around some of the buildings, but there's always I'm like a whole bunch of people could fit down there. Like it's all locked up now.
They went back.
What?
Yeah, Barry and whoever went back. Barry and Mark Peterson.
Yeah.
And because they had went out and went through a manhole cover too, and they had to sit on it because the guy kept trying to open it up to come out where they were. And Mark McMullen, my friend, went down there and he got hauled in, and he got in a lot of trouble. I didn't want to go back again after that.
No, his dad. I think it was one of the first things he told me when I went to tech. He's like, "It's the one thing you're probably never gonna do is tunnel running." Yeah. Part of it was like, maybe, I don't know. We'll see how I am.
You can get kicked out.
I know. Now they take it seriously for some reason, but
That would have been horrible for me. I wouldn't have anywhere to hide. I'd have to go to Abilene or something.
That was the other thing that Dad talked about.
But we were gaming that night, or we were just hanging out.
I think we were just hanging out.
Oh, okay.
You said there was an arcade underneath that you see?
Mm-hmm.
You know what an arcade is?
What is that?
Yeah, like
What's a coin?
You ever play an arcade?
I listened to him on his podcast, and I was like going, you know, you got a lot of mannerisms that you've taken directly from your dad.
Oh yeah.
I know that's a horrible thing to say, but I kept going.
I mean, it's not bad because I'll say stuff and I say, I heard that from my dad. Now I'm saying the same thing, you know. So it's like it just happens, you know.
What I want to know. what kind of things did you see?
I don't know. Well, you just did it just a second ago. Was the reason
Was it the coin?
It was something. Yeah, the way you said that. But it sounds just like it's kind of like a little bit of dumb fuck at the end of it. But no, I would find it very interesting. I assume that y'all have had some fairly interesting arguments. Especially if he's having to basically argue against himself.
So-
That would be very interesting.
We are both hard-headed for sure. And,
You know, usually one of us has to walk away. There's no resolution until because cooler heads have to prevail. Because we're just like saying stupid shit to each other.
And how can I give in to him? I mean, I find that hard. Even like all my kids, anyway. But even at school when I'm working, I was like, it's hard to give in to these guys, even though they may have a point. I was like,
It's just it's something we're gonna learn, and it's tough because man, do I not want to be wrong, or be proven wrong? Because once you get attacked, when you're in an argument, you're on the offensive. Man, there's no oh, that's a good point. It's like, no, I don't care. You're wrong.
well, a guy likes to argue just for the sake of arguing. I'm pretty sure that I had arguments with him where he didn't really believe what he was arguing.
I was looking for room to escape. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, I think I've probably given up on games that we've played before just so that somebody will become more powerful and kill your dad.
Talisman. The board game Talisman is a really good example of this because anytime we played where Russ and Guy were playing, there would come a time in the game when Russ stopped caring about winning the game. All he cared about was Guy didn't win the game.
I think that
It was a much easier game to play.
And he would drop stuff for people to pick up if he thought that it would hurt Guy.
So okay, what is Talisman another TTRPG?
No, it's a board game.
It's a board game?
It's actually a terrible board game.
I don't think so.
It's awful.
I still love it. I've got it on. You can get it off of Steam if you want to.
Yeah, you actually play it online, which is probably a better game because it's basically Monopoly with elves and dwarves. It's a roll and write game where you roll and you have to move that many spaces and it's long and it's tedious.
I've never finished a game online on it because it just went on forever, and I finally just go, I'm so tired of playing this game.
Every game of Talisman I ever played, by the end of it, I was going, I don't care who wins this, I just want it to be done.
I don't care who wins this thing as long as it's not
As long as I got it. I don't know, but Guy has a way in games of getting under your skin.
You should live with them.
we play board games at home, and we go after each other sometimes.
Okay, so if you all play Ticket to Ride,
Oh yeah.
all right, it's like this. For people who don't know, it's just essentially you want to get your destinations across America or wherever the theme is. Anyways, you can also block people, and it was everyone was at home finally after years, and just the last game of Take to Ride with my brother before he went to Florida. Both my dad and my sister were like, "Hey, you could block Dante right now," and both of them just and I'm just on the other end. I'm like, no one's interfering with me. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. But he's just waiting patiently. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And just. It was one after the other. Bang, bang. They only needed one train to block the path each. And they're just my brother's just if he could flip the table. I mean, he could, but he would have. But he was just angry at them. And Did y'all even win, or did Mom win that game?
I don't know. Somebody else. It didn't matter. It was just like funny. It was like she said it. She said, my daughter said, "Hey, can we block Dante?" I said, "Really? You want to do that?" Okay, I did it. And then she did it, and then it's like the game was over for him. So it's kind of fun that way. As long as it's friendly. So
And sometimes you remember from last game, and you're just like, no. I've had some arguments that have bled into game. Like it was like just outside of the game, we do have an argument, and then in game, it's just like he needs healing. That's fine. That's fine. Just crack a potion into my own gullet instead.
Arguments do bleed into the game.
It's hard not to. It's a social game, and there's only so much of a facade you can put up before it's like, my emotions are now being felt by my character. Okay.
Just the other day, because I ride with Meg a lot to the project that we're working on. Just the other day, she was singing in the vehicle. She goes, "How long have you been waiting to argue with Jeff about that particular thing?" I said, "It's been a while." And she goes, "That was fun for everyone."
What was that? What
We were arguing about religion.
Oh. My character is a priest, and I have he has a unique take on religion in general.
Gotcha.
So it started a long conversation with another priest.
I think
I've
that
been
was like
waiting for it too.
I think that was my first argument in D&D, where I was just like, I'm a priest, and they're like, we're gonna break open all the graveyards and the mausoleums. I'm like, this seems sacrilegious. Like, I don't think we should do that. They're like, but Daniel said the magic was flowing from there. I'm like, yeah, then we should just leave that there. And they had a whole argument. I'm like, you know what? I wash my hands. I walk away.
That happened just recently too.
Yeah. Well, it's usually Meg. Meg is usually our conscious of the party.
It's the reason I invited her to the party. I was like going, they don't play like this. Like, she's like nice and wants to do good things. And I went, oh, this is going to be perfect.
But it's fun because it's nice having that attitude in there in the game because it is something to. Because that's like I said earlier.
They were turning into murder hobos.
Oh, we weren't.
Yes, they were.
No, we weren't.
Yeah, they were. It doesn't matter. We're player characters. We can kill anything we want to.
No, we're not like that. I've never been a murderer.
Who cares about them? We need new clothing. Kill them.
Wow. They lost their moral compass.
They didn't. That did not happen.
It did happen.
I think we tried an evil campaign, and it was just not a good time because like it wasn't like a good evil or like they had purpose. It was like, what would a good person do? Now let's do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it was just dumb. It was just like, let's kill the shopkeeper. Let's burn down the house to hide the evidence. And then like at the end of this was like only one session. And we're like, we don't want to do this anymore.
We
It usually didn't turn out very well.
yeah.
Maybe if you're the right people. We played a game where we were all thieves. It wasn't horrible.
Wasn't too bad.
You're looking at the guy for some reason.
I don't know if he played in that one or not.
Okay.
I don't tend to play evil characters. I don't really enjoy that kind of play. I did make one evil character one time because I'd spent a whole campaign with everyone telling me my character was evil when he absolutely wasn't. Did not do evil things, but he was constantly being told that he was evil, and so I said, okay, you guys want to see me play an evil character? I'll show you what an evil character looks like.
You don't know evil.
I can't make anything last very long, but if you want.
I don't really use alignment in my games anyway.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't in years.
It just got too like constraining because like only certain items or only certain this, and then also like alignment change. Oh, you lost your whole like if you're a paladin.
Everything that's about everything you are.
And plus it opens up the game.
Yeah.
Especially you have things like, then you have priests, and you're like going, okay, they're the priests of the god of healing. Aren't they all good?
Yeah.
Right.
No, well, they may have their own reasons for being in that church, and you never can. Then it's like, oh, great, we're going to have to start an inquisition or something to find out who's the bad people in here. So, anyway, I'm sorry.
No, he was saying it was low battery.
But no, I'm not a big fan of alignment. If you get an alignment in my game, that means that something bad has happened. It does. I mean, then you're going to have to play it, and then you can also suffer from all the things that involves it. Mm-hmm. So it's only usually like angels and devils that have alignments in my game. So.
All right, we're about to hit the hour mark. Any last questions, Ed?
No, I mean, I just, since I haven't been in touch with the game, I mean, has it changed a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the game is still, frankly, our game hasn't really. We still play the same way we've always done, just different system, you know. Mm-hmm. Although we're playing Pathfinder 1, so it's basically D&D 3.5. And we've been playing that for a long, long time. But the game is definitely different. I mean, from like 2E when we were playing, you know. It's changed its kind of philosophy. It's not as, I mean, well, and plus just role playing in general has evolved into something that it really kind of wasn't back then. You know, I mean, you know, you remember second edition, you had to like, you got experience points for killing monsters,
Right?
And you know, that philosophy has kind of gone away. Where I guess you still technically in 5e get experience points for killing monsters.
Yeah, but you can also, like, there's two different tracks now. It's like a milestone.
Yeah,
where
that's what we do.
Your character evolves or like does something good for that character, like story, versus XP, which you can still get through killing monsters or like diffusing traps, or if you want to use social interactions. But for me personally, milestones where it's at, because then people are just like looking for extra points for XP here and there, and it's just like, well, I did this, can I get XP? It's like, I don't want to have this conversation.
It does remove an irritating part of the game.
Yeah.
Back early, I mean, there were like ridiculous situations where we would, like, you'd hold off from killing a monster.
First edition, get the mage up here with a dagger.
Yeah, first edition.
That was kind of fun, but it was ridiculous.
But in first edition, you didn't get experience points unless you did damage to the creature. Mm-hmm. And that's where all the experience points came from. And if the mage had cast his one magic missile for the day,
He was done.
you know, it was hard for him to get experience points. And the party had a vested interest in getting the mage experience points.
Yeah.
Because they're really, really weak, and then they're really, really strong. And so you wanted to get them to 5th level when they got Fireball or Lightning Bolt, whichever they decided to go. And, you know, so you had to protect them and nurture them along and get them experience points, and they had the things to do it. And they didn't hit things very well.
I'll hold down this goblin.
The players are holding down creatures. The wizard just stabbed.
For some reason back then, it never dawned on us that this rule is stupid. We don't have to play by it. So we played by the rules.
No, it's hard to break through that mindset until like you realize, like, I can do it my way.
Yeah.
It took a while to get out of that for me. Anyway. Yeah.
It took me like a module where I was just like flipping through pages to finally say, like, this is so much, and they're not going to even hit half of it.
Right.
And then just like I wrote out a whole scenario, and they're just like, oh, we don't want to go do that.
Yeah.
And then just like, I'm done for the day. Just walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've certainly started. I write my adventures much differently than I used to. Yeah. Some of it just gets very lightly detailed. In the other parts, I mean, I was like, I know they're going to do this.
Yeah.
There's going to be a sign that says, do this.
It's like we'll just kind of lightly get the other stuff there, so just in case.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's the same basic game as far as it's a role-playing game.
Right.
And if you're into that part of the game, it's kind of the same. Yes. Just the rules are a little different. I think one of the good things about it is so many new systems have come up that other systems have taken and they've stolen parts from. I mean, 5e is a conglomeration of a whole bunch of different game mechanisms that didn't used to be in D&D. And so, I mean, this is good. I mean, like, you know, and all these and new games, and now there's this OSR, the old school Renaissance, where people are going back and writing, you know, RPG rule sets based on, you know, first edition D&D or, you know, stuff like that. I'm not an OSR fan because I like the way that the hobby has evolved. I like the way the role playing has evolved. I think games now are better than games were then. People, you know, claim, and a lot of old grognards like us, but not us, you know, say, oh, it was deadly back then, you know.
Men were men.
Yeah. It's not that fun for me. I mean, the fun in the game for me is putting the character in situations and seeing what happens, and seeing how he changes, how the things that happen to him change him, and that's what I like doing. And along with how it changes everyone else, you know, and then the things that happen to them, and how our interactions change over the course of a campaign. Things change, you know, and that's what's fun about the game.
Yeah, and that brings me to think about like how we're trying to do more storytelling in classrooms, or we're trying to like put in assignments where they can do more storytelling, because you know, that's like the old way of learning.
Yeah,
you know, you remember stuff if there was a narrative, and you can put things together. You know, instead of what we're kind of doing now is just like giving them chunks of information to remember.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't connect to something, then they're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
But a story has that way of helping people to remember, and so it's like that sounds like to me what's good about the RPG, I guess, role playing game is that, you know, if there's a story involved, people are going to want to do it or going to participate.
Yeah. My thing is to try and I like to try and make the people emotionally engaged in the game. I want them to be upset when that NPC dies. And if I manage that, then I'm happy in the game. If it's just a regular monster bash, I mean, that can be fun too.
For a little bit.
But I mean, there needs to be connection between the players as well as with the DM, and that's what the game is. That's the fun part.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I guess I'll wrap it up there. I'll do all the stuff that I don't do usually and let Alex do in post.
That's not going to be fun.
And thank you, listener, for listening in to another episode of Dungeons and Degrees. You can find us where all pods are being cast. You can follow our Patreon over at patreon.com/DungeonInDegrees. You can watch me playing my weekly game on Fridays over at Dungeon and Degrees over on Twitch. And don't forget to give us 5 stars. If not, you will be caught in a sense of wistfulness that you will never escape. Thank you so much for listening. My name's Adrian. Go have some fun.